Welcome to Service Six Sigma, a live stream for mobile service professionals. Great news, you are here early. Please stand by as our live stream is about to begin. Thank you. Did you know Service Six Sigma has 6 sectors? Here they are: attract, convert, deliver, control, scale, and give back. Would you like to be an influencer for our sponsors? Please reach out to Ben Bergloff, President and Co-founder of Service Six Sigma. We would love to get you signed up. Please don't forget to send us your favorite videos and
catch you before you leave our live stream today. We are in fact live. We are just waiting for our live stream to begin. Please stand by as our live stream is about to begin. We go live at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time every single day, Monday through Friday, except for Saturday and Sunday. That is family time. But thank you for joining our live stream today. Please stand by as our live stream begins and wait and watch our commercials.
It's Harrison from ResearchFutureClean.com. Before Ben and Perry go online, well, you may know him as Perry, I know him as Dad. While he's being semi-retired, I've decided that Reach is going to sponsor Service Six Sigma because it's another way for Perry to be able to give back to the window cleaning industry and service industries in general. So let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Service Six Sigma, a live stream for mobile service professionals. Great news, you are here early. Please stand by as our live stream is about to begin. Thank you. Did you know Service Six Sigma has 6 sectors? Here they are: attract, convert, deliver, control, scale, and give back. Would you like to be an influencer for our sponsors? Please reach out to Ben Bergloff, President and Co-founder of Service Six Sigma. We would love to get you signed up. Please don't forget to send us your favorite videos and photos. We will play them live as we wait for our live stream to begin. Thank you. Welcome to a free live stream built around 6 sectors. This live stream created for mobile service professionals. We would like to introduce you to your hosts, Ben Bergloff, President of Service Six Sigma, and Perry Tate, Co-founder of Service Six Sigma. Welcome to Service Six Sigma, your live stream for mobile service professionals.
Good evening.
Boom, here we are. All right, welcome to ServiceSixSigma.com, the live stream podcast where anything can happen. And we're waiting now for our good friend Martin Byrne to turn up. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is take this little chance, Ben, I think, to slowly, calmly explain how, it thinks I've got a thumb up, how Service Six Sigma works, you know? Yeah. And its progress, right? We can have a little bit of a chat. Oh, David is here. That's great. Hey, Dave. So Service Six Sigma was let me start that again. Service Six Sigma is born from a message that Ben sent me before he ever had a Reach It product. He'd actually bought a Reach It rocker, but he hadn't received a radio rocker, but he hadn't received it yet. And he goes, dude, your online presence is crap, and I think I can help you. And I go, okay, well, you know, first you got to buy a product because everybody wants free product. And I go, I'm not doing free product for help, you know. And he goes, no, I've already bought a radio rocker. And so then our relationship began, right? And 6 days later, we had our first live stream podcast for Service Six Sigma. We cracked it out, didn't we? Built the website, did everything. And I think that,
and then we're on 27 episodes now.
27 already, right?
Yeah.
And
so it's been a journey.
I can't say they're getting better, but there are better ones. You know, like we've got upcoming. We've got AC Lockyer, Bo Gizetti, Jason Gaiman this tomorrow. From he's a super promoter, you know, of helping people. And so what was our game plan? Our game plan was, you know, basically in a give back mode. I'm a nurse. You know, you'd hardly know it if you see my life, but I'm kind of semi-retired. And Ben has got an automated service business, you know, that he's also, you know, owner-operator, but it's so sweet in the way that it works that he has got time every evening to dedicate to Service Six Sigma. And it's our way of getting back and interviewing guests from the industry who could be in a position of strength where they're giving back wisdom, or a position of weakness where they're looking for advice and guidance, you know. And we think that those are both there's gems hidden in all of that. And when Martin comes on board, Martin was a middle manager, and he bought into an existing business. And I find that really interesting, because when one day, if we want to sell our service businesses, what we could learn from Martin is, what was he thinking? You know, what did he need to know? How did he feel comfortable? How did the guy, you know, like, so we'll go through, you know, all these kinds of questions. Because then one day when we want to sell our service business, we'll have this insight, you know, which may be different to what we might be thinking before that. Like, I just want to sell my business, you know. So then we broke up. So it's for the service industry, and we said there's no reason. Everything and everybody who we interview is just as relevant for a carpet cleaner, a landscape guy, an arborist, an electrician, as it is for a window cleaner, pressure washer, which is our traditional industry. So we so then we went at it and we said, okay, well, let's break up so that we've got something to focus on. Let's break up the business into 6 sectors, because we've got six sectors, and it's worked out really well. So here they are. The attract is the sector where we talk about anything to do with attracting a prospective customer. That's really the prospecting in the old days would be called, So it includes your social media influencing, and we want to, we're going to have sessions on how to get better at influencing. Which video we've already done, one back there, which videos work, which videos don't, and some of the things that you think are not the things that happen, and all that sort of thing. So this is a really important thing, as well as uniforms, door hangers, postcards, cookies. Ben, have you got your speaker there?
No, I don't. I was just trying to find that here.
It's probably in his truck somewhere or something. But anyway, Ben's got a JBL Charge 5 speaker with his logo on it that he gives away to his most valuable customers. Like, that's all. Well, that's not in Attract, but it could be attracting. Somebody goes, wow, where'd you get that from? To his existing customers when their friends come over and they go, oh, my window cleaner gave me this. Like, who's your window cleaner? My window cleaner never gave me shit, like that. So then the next sector is convert, where we want to convert the leads into customers. There's a lot more in that than just technique. But hopefully, at the moment, Sales Boost is on, but I hope we can get Patrick Clark from Sales Boost after that's all settled down and he's got back to his family and all that sort of thing. I'm really hoping we can get Patrick Clark on to talk about the sales, but we're looking for guests in that sales area, like the conversion. I'll reach out to Kurt Campton from Responsibit as well, and see. We were friends once. I've stayed in his home, so so we should. I'm pretty sure we can pull that off. Then we go into the delivery. Now the delivery is the where I come in, like Reach It tools or whatever, but it's not just that. It's the tools and the technique. All the on-site safety, all the on-site management. It's the route management will come into delivery, all of that, because it's really, really important that we have efficiency, because your efficiency on site determines your hourly rate, not what you charged, right? So you can charge $200 for a job and it takes 2 hours, you'll make $100 an hour is your takeaway. But if you could do it in an hour, you'll make $200 an hour. If you could do it in half an hour, you make $400 an hour is your takeaway. So it's really, really important to get your efficiency right. And over time, we're going to talk about all the science and the maths of efficiency. That's kind of like, that's where my brain buzzes away. Even today, George Moore wrote to me and he said, hey, I love your radial reel, but I worked out how to put a drill on it, right? So just a power drill. He's taken the handle off, put a hex on it, and then put the power drill. He said it's just made my life so much easier pulling that hose in. And you know what I mean? So a lot of the things that we do, a lot of the advancements that we've got, come from conversations with customers. Ben and I had another one the other day, which we'll keep a secret. But there's another one which we're going to develop. Byron, we're working with Byron on some BOABs for internal work. And also on a super squeegee, we're going to try and redesign the whole squeegee with Byron from start to finish, like we did with the waterfed brush. Yeah. So we're working on that, but we're looking for the guys in the pressure washing industries, the guys in the landscaping industries, because what's real about this is that there may be an idea that somebody says, oh, I'm in the landscaping industry, and if only I could have this tool, I would be able to work faster. Right, then somebody listening to it who's a pressure washer might go, oh, like that problem is just like my problem, and if I solve that problem with this solution, that would make me faster. That's how it works. It's hundredth monkey. I don't know if you read hundredth monkey, but it's hundredth monkey stuff, right? If enough people start thinking in a particular way, other people on the other side of the world start thinking in that way, right? There's a guy called Richard Pierce who evidently flew a powered plane earlier than the Wright brothers in New Zealand. Yes. It just wasn't documented properly, so it didn't get legalized. can just see that being the American way. No, I'm sorry, that didn't happen because you didn't sign the form that we have here in America.
Yeah. The waiver.
So the Wright brothers did it first. But anyway, there's this thing about the cross pollination of ideas, and that's what we're really hoping for. The same applies to the fourth sector, which is control. Control is all your admin, your systems and processes, your SOPs, your training regimes, all the forms and paperwork that manage the business and manage risk and manage efficiency and manage reporting. And the same happens, by the way, what I'm talking about in the delivery side of things about increasing efficiency. People say, if only I had this, and then I get this chance to go and make that as a physical product. Exactly the same thing happens in the software world, where somebody is a CRM person and a customer that has their CRM says, if only, like yesterday we had Workies on, and somebody must have said, you asked, do you take tips? Or so Noah said, do you take tips? So Workies can calculate tips. And then he said, and we have just worked out, we've published the software where the tip can be split between technicians on the truck. So somebody would have said, my life would be a whole lot easier if I could split that 60-40 between the two techs, that tip. And somebody in Workies goes, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to split that. Okay, I can see that. So having got to that point where we've got the whole thing, we've got the AC/DC, that's how we're going to remember it. It's funny, Ben, I used to say Stairway to Heaven, that's Led Zeppelin. Well, like as life would have it, AC/DC's song is Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
It's not quite. It's not the one we're going to use for what AC/DC's for. So we're skipping on that. I looked through to see if there are any good songs they've got, but there's none. So now we've got AC/DC, we've got all the systems and processes, all the control, all the efficiency. Our hourly rate is maximized, with our single operating system. And this is very similar to franchising. Franchising is the concept of selling a known successful business formula, and scaling your business should be exactly the same. You shouldn't scale your business until you have a known successful formula. Everything is documented so that when you replicate, everybody knows what to do and everybody knows how to report that it's done, and all the exceptions are able to be identified that this didn't happen as it should have happened. Okay, so then we go to, that's our scale, and then what we look for in this chapter of the sixth one is the giving back. Where the things that you did do and the things you did get right and the things that are interesting from your life and your experience, all of those things. But you become a guest on Service Six Sigma and you give back, or you can go and watch our podcast, Poor No More, where Brian Hoyt just gives back incredibly to his own community, and everybody knows, my window cleaner, feeds the poor. I don't feed the poor, but my window cleaner feeds the poor. So by using my window cleaner, I'm helping feed the poor, kind of thing. All right. Now in the background we have Mr. Martin Byrne from Down Under. We need to just check your sound, Martin. Hang on a sec. Let me check. Ben's going to check. Are you going to unmute him, Ben?
3.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we got you.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, good morning, and good day. How are you, champion? Yeah, we're good.
Mate.
As it should be. As you should be.
Yes.
So,
how are you, Ben?
have you got AirPods at all, Martin? Is there a chance for that?
I don't have them with me, unfortunately.
Okay, good. All right, and Martin is a stand-in, so we got to appreciate him. We had a young boy booked, and he got unwell last night, so or during the day. So he said, "I just am not going to be a good show." So we rang Martin, and Martin said, "Yep, I'm good," but he's not in his studio. Are you, mate?
No, I'm not. I'm out on the road, unfortunately.
Okay.
Where are you going, Martin?
Hey.
We're out in a place called Dandenong in Victoria, Australia, and it's a new client, so I'm just making sure that everything's going the way it should be.
Oh,
Normally,
you have to show us
Yeah.
Show us the work
this is a
site.
baby job.
All right.
You don't have to flip the camera. Oh yeah, look at that. Lots of windows.
So we're doing. Oh, lost me. Nah, it's too bright. Nah, it's too bright for you to see.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right, bro. That's all right. Okay, so Martin, what is interesting about you that I want to talk about is this principle that you were once not in the service industry, you were once not in window cleaning or pressure washing, and you had a job, and then you decided you wanted to get into the entrepreneurial business ownership and things like that, and talk that through, like so tell us about what you were doing for the best part of your young adult life.
Most of my life, I started off as a storeman and worked my way to supervisor, and then I became a warehouse manager, and then I started running multiple warehouses all over Victoria. I had a small chemical business on the side where I was supplying chemicals to various industries. And I had a window cleaner that was trying to retire but couldn't sell his business. He conned me into coming out for 2 weeks to give it a crack. I actually enjoyed it and gave notice and resigned and took over his business. That's the shortfall of it.
Yeah, that's the short version. So when you were thinking of, okay, so what were you looking for why didn't you go into like a franchise system? Because quite often when you end up in middle management, that security of systems and processes being perfected, it's very addictive, and so a lot of people go into the franchising system. So why did you look at a franchise system, or did you only look at this business?
I only looked at this business to begin with, and that's all I was interested in. I've since looked at the franchises here and have steered away from them, mainly because of once you're in a franchise, they may be your customers, but they own your database. So you can actually never on-sell your business or sell a portion of it. So there's no
VIP Home Services has a way to do that, but I actually agree with the principle that once you've successfully independent, folding that business into a franchise they would have to give you a very compelling reason.
Well, yes. So for me, it's been a lot easier to buy small businesses or medium-sized businesses and sort of expand my business that way than to
Is that
go
how
into a
you
franchise.
did it?
Yes.
So the first, okay, well, this is getting interesting now, Mr. Martin Byrne. So these guys who have got how many? Are they all one man bands getting out, or have you had one where they've had more trucks?
One had two vans, but most of them have had single van operators.
Perfect.
Or husband and wife sort of situations.
Yeah.
And we've sort of acquired them as we've been going along.
And as you've learned to discern, what is their number one reason for getting out of the service industry?
Most of them is retiring or moving in a state. During COVID, we had a lot move from Victoria to, say, Queensland.
Yes. So yes, I imagine.
Yeah. So we didn't look to buy their businesses. We looked to buy their client list.
Yes, just their client list, yeah.
Which was ideal because they're not going to be here to do that work. Even if they get the phone call, they're in another state, so they're not interested at all. Or the other way we look at it is we working with Jehovah's Witnesses. They're here for a short time. They build a business in the area, and then their mission will ask them to move on to somewhere else. and then they now know to contact me, and I will look at taking on those clients so they're still looked after.
Oh, and are you a JW yourself? I called you that for fun. Okay, you're not a Jehovah's Witness. I shouldn't say JW. My apologies, Jehovah's Witness.
No.
Okay, but I have a lot of, as you can imagine, as you can imagine, I have a lot of clients that are Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, a lot,
Yeah.
and a lot of friends, and also a lot of friends. Very
Yes.
good people. But it's an interesting dynamic that you've pointed out, because I said to Ben the other day, not just 2 days ago, he had no idea, but I said, maybe half the window cleaners in the world are possibly Jehovah's Witnesses.
I reckon that's pretty
Possibly.
close to the ball.
Yeah, because they really, really understand the value, because their highest priority is evangelism or missionary, and because they want time to be able to do what's most important to them, then between family and evangelism, that window cleaning is an industry which gives them that. Well, that's
100%.
fascinating. So they know now that they can pop into Melbourne, do a 1 or 2 year stint, and then earn money, build a business, and then get the capital, a little capital kick to go off to the next place.
That's exactly right.
Well, there's a wonder they haven't got one of you in every city in the world.
I've been asked to expand into every state in Australia, but I haven't done it yet.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
not
this
as
is-
big as Ben.
How many? My question is this. My next question is: how many have you come across anybody who's leaving because of the physical exertion? Their body's starting to give up, or does that come under retirement?
That usually comes under retirement, because by the time people get out of this injury, their shoulders are gone, their back's gone, their knees are gone. You look at me, my shoulders are knackered now, my knees are knackered. I very rarely get on the tools nowadays. It's more of a teaching thing more than anything.
Martin, what would you do if somebody was a middle-aged person and they wanted to get into the service industry and buy somebody out? Would you advise them to ever go on the tools?
Yes, I would advise them to go on the tools, because you get to have an understanding of what actually it takes to get that clean. So therefore, when you come to quote, or you're actually discussing with the client how you're going to fix a particular challenge, you've got that knowledge in your head. You're not actually just reading from text or from what other people have told you.
Wow. And but I would Ben and I. Hey Ben, make a note to go through the water-fed medic stuff. Right, we'll pull it back off YouTube and we'll do this one. Right, but Ben and I often talk about the because I've always been focused on the safety side, and I kind of backed away when somebody made safety their business. So but before that I was the expert on safety. But one of the issues about ladder climbing, for example, is that you can never climb a ladder in an ergonomic way, because ergonomics is everything in alignment. If you watch people march, you march ergonomically, right? But you can't climb a ladder ergonomically, because you always have to put your knees to one side or the other, which means that your knees are carrying a twisted load as you apply force. So an older, heavier, all those days of ladder climbing, which is like Ollie's age, like Ollie's age through to 40 is what I would say is that's your maximum age to be. But you've got to, ideally, I would say don't climb ladders. So that's what I did. I got into window cleaning at about 45, and I started a ladderless window cleaning service.
I got in at 45 and continue to use ladders. But we really do promote and try and source jobs where we do not need a ladder.
Yeah, but you would not climb a ladder now, would you? Personally?
If my wife's listening, no.
Say no more.
No,
you should not climb ladders.
I do. I think I've been on one ladder in like 6 months.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, my good friend Jimmy Jones, who some people would know as one of our salesmen, but he's got a full-time cleaning business in Arizona. He water feds, everything. He's a long-term, he uses all the Reach It gear, always has. And then one day he had one window above a garage, right? And he went up and slipped and fell, broke both his wrists for one window.
Jeez.
And he never uses ladders. He just had to use a ladder to get to that one window. And he broke both wrists. And that's when I rang him up and said, dude, I can't help you, but if you want to win some commission and just tell people, because I know you've got all our stuff anyway, so you know everything about our business. So if you wanted to handle some leads or whatever, and we had Black Friday coming up and all that, I said, I can flick you some money, for doing it. And he's stayed with us. He looks after he actually looks after all our brethren, Plymouth brethren, those people.
Yep.
So they don't use the internet. So Jimmy looks after all those guys, right, in America. Right. Well, I don't know how many there's all, but there's all the ones we know go to Jimmy, right, and a few other people. So yeah. They also that's also another group of people that are very window cleaning oriented. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so okay, now, do you think that the professionalization of a small business at the size that you're buying out these businesses now, right? So, or not when I say now, I don't mean today, but if you saw another one, you'd have a go at it. So, do you think that the professionalization of that business would increase its value to you when you're doing acquisition? You're actually doing acquisition of clients, and I imagine all contact, the website, the phone number, all that. Are you taking all those on as well?
No, I actually took over another business last week, Perry, and I literally took the client place, but we spent 3 days going out, meeting, greeting all the clients, explaining to them that I was taking over their clients, and they were moving to another part of the state where they wouldn't be able to service them. Sometimes I buy the number so that I've got all those leads. It all depends on the person that you're dealing with. Like the last one I bought last week was with a Jehovah's Witness, so I know that all
he's going to be honest, straight up.
He's already passed me like 8 more leads that weren't even on the list that we paid for, that are already booked in for next week.
But if he was off to Indonesia, then he'd probably just give you that number anyway as part of the deal, because, isn't it? Did he freeze?
I froze.
This is fascinating.
Super.
I am getting a lot out of this. This is great.
I would love to just purchase.
I'll bet you he hasn't got D&D on, and Eddie's taking a phone call.
D&D do not disturb for everybody.
Yeah, do not disturb. You can stop the inbound phone calls, but Martin's crazy busy. This is fascinating because in fact, if there's any questions anybody wants me to ask Martin about the mindset of the person buying, like you, like our industry, you're looking to take over, what mindset are you using? That's what I'm trying to explore. And the mindset of the person selling. That's my next question is that, in the professionalization of the business, to put in a CRM and do all this stuff, right? Does it change the value of the business, or is it just the client base? So if it's just the client base, then the professionalization of the business may mean that your one-man business or one truck business can have more clients, therefore increase the value. But he's not going to take on your CRM. He's not going to take on your forms or whatever. So
now, while we wait for Martin, how would we were talking about ladder safety and not climb on ladders if just use everything with pole work and everything. Let's say you do have that one window that you can't get to. What is something that you would typically verbalize word to the customer?
So firstly, I don't think there are many windows left in the world that you can't get to with Reach It, because that's always been my focus from the very first moment that I got into window cleaning is I need to be able to reach that window with a pole. So Peter Thomas, one day, can you make a note that we talk to Peter next time he services the cafe on the ocean, where he's got to reach 12 feet horizontally to clean the windows on the other side of a plastic roof that you can't walk on, right? We'll get him to set up his camera and we'll talk through, horizontal reach, cleaning windows with a up to 12 feet horizontal reach with Reach It. Like, we don't advertise it because there's not that many windows. But if somebody rings me up and says, how can I do that? Nick from Vancouver rang me up and he said, dude, I've got windows that have got, the windows are there, and then somebody's put a balcony, but the balcony's 1 foot wide, or 1.5 foot. It's an ornamental balcony. It's not a balcony, right? So we built a gooseneck that goes up and across and down, so that he can clean to the bottom of that outdoor. He can't get to the window from inside, right? And he can't get to the window from outside because there's a railing there, which you can't get anything through. So we built a kit like that for him with our heavy duty gooseneck sets and adapters. Denver's here. Great. Denver's going to be on soon, actually. You'll really love Denver. He's multi-truck. There's going to be a lot of questions from Denver. So this is where that efficiency comes in, is making sure you've got the tools for the job and being able to reach windows. So you said, so what I did back then, if there was a window, if it was the window at the top of the stairs, I suggested that they put a chiffon, I don't know the name of the material, I'm not really girly, but that material that mums put up behind curtains, you pull it and you can see through it, but it's white, chiffon or something like that. Anyway, there's a material that you can put on the curtain, on the window. So just say put a curtain on it, because nobody looks out that window, the one at the top of the stairs when the stairs bend around the corner. Normally the garage is on the other side of that one. And you go, that's not a window, right? That's a skylight. Okay, Martin has an emergency, it sounds like. Okay, lucky him.
Now,
right, so we'll
when Martin buys businesses from like these Jehovah's Witnesses, is he just buying them for the clientele base?
Yes, that's where he got to, and we'll definitely get him back on. It's a fascinating interview, and we've got to fill half an hour with questions and ideas. So if anybody wants to come live, we have a 30-minute slot. If anybody wants to jump in and talk. Maybe Jason Hatch is still there, and if Jason's acquired a couple, maybe Jason, you can jump in and we'll talk about it, carry on where Martin left off. But it makes sense. You don't want to buy the business. You may not want to buy the truck because it may have inherent problems, or it may have an outstanding debt greater than its value, and you may not like the tools because they use Tucker and we use Reach It. I'm joking.
So do business owners usually just price it off of how many clients they have? Like, how do they price something like that if they were going to sell a clientele base?
This would be the interesting thing, and I think that we will be able to find, in the end, somebody will write to us and say, I bought a business. So Martin's first business, he bought a business. He bought the whole business. But his second one, he might have bought a business as well. But at some point he goes, I don't need to buy the business. I just need to buy the clients. At some point, the clients are the value, as long as he can meet and greet them. That's where he got to. So we should do a Noah and write down the last thing that he said. Noah does that with every customer. He has an engaging conversation with every customer at the end of every job, and then he writes down what was the future-oriented point that he can use next time. Like the kids are about to sit an exam, right? How did your kids go in the exam next time he sees the customer? So we got as far as the meet and greet on the business he bought last week with Martin. So I think from a business mind point of view, you would want to reduce your risk. In VIP Home Services, we would buy a client for 10 times the weekly revenue. So if you were getting an average of, which doesn't apply to window cleaning because it's an irregular service, but VIP Home Services didn't sell irregular service businesses. Jim's franchising group sold a regular service. VIP only sold regular service. So lawn care, he's going to go over. That's, let's say it averages $20 a week over the last 12 months. That customer, $1,000 for the year. VIP Home Services would buy that customer for him for $1,000.
Wow.
25. No, $250. $20. $200. 10 times the average weekly. So $20. If they got $1,000 a year from the customer, let's say they got $20 a week, we would give them $200 for that customer. Yeah, and then the franchisee coming in would pay VIP Home Services the $200 and get that customer, and then we would the VIP Home Services onboarding team would transfer that customer, put the two franchisees together and transfer. They're both wearing the VIP hat, so they, it's not like, John, here's Michael, it's VIP, here's VIP, and that was very efficient for the franchisees that were very good at client acquisition, because they could acquire customers anywhere. There was no exclusive territory, but they knew that they could, having acquired it and serviced it to the point that it was regular, they could then either sell it to a franchisee that was closer to it and make some money, right? Or VIP Home Services, next time I sold a franchise, I would approach all the franchisees in that area, say, are there any customers that you're not getting your new highest hourly rate from, or you're getting a great hourly rate, but your travel time to and from that job is actually chewing into the net asset or the net dividend that you're receiving there.
Now, how do you eliminate the risk of, like, let's say I was selling a client and this client really liked me, but unfortunately she's going to go with somebody else, but she doesn't like the person that I'm selling, quote unquote, the client to. How do you eliminate that risk? So let's say you buy the client, Perry, and she doesn't want to go with you, but you already paid. How do you eliminate that risk? Is this like a gambling thing where, like,
So I would suggest to you that a likable person is much smarter to use this method.
Okay.
And if you don't have a likable character, because you look at Martin, he's so,
Sure.
he's like a teddy bear, right? So you just, like, he's just going to turn up and smile, and he's just all warm and fuzzy and confident.
Yeah.
So I think Martin already knows that he doesn't have that risk, right?
Yeah.
The biggest risk, which I can tell you from VIP Home Services days, the biggest risk of client acquisition is that the guy who's selling it to you is not leaving town. And then he starts up, and you can't restrain a trade, territorial restrain a trade at this level when we're talking about services. You're not gonna end up in court because he's done that, right? You're just going to get screwed. So I've seen that a lot where they sell a business and then they start up in competition to you, and then 3 months later they're pinching back the customers that they sold to you. Yeah. So
that happened to my dad.
With Martin, oh, did it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so he bought his dental office in 2000, right before they moved. They moved from California to here to Boise, and he bought the practice from another dentist. And then he had the contract and everything. And then when that contract ended, he built an office right down the street from him, right down the block. And I would say a quarter of those patients moved on from our dental office to the
That's the risk. That's the risk you want to cover. But again, you know what? If somebody perceived that is a risk, but it's still, then the first thing I would do is say, okay, let's say there's 100 customers, 25 I've got a risk with, right? Then I'd be pricing the business on 75 and those 25 you already worked out you're going to lose them, right? So you're going to have some some losses there. And then the second thing I would do is if I felt that there was a risk, I would actually take into consideration that the true cost that I'm prepared to pay for the customer includes a crazy level of service, whether it's cookies and Starbucks cards and, like something that arrives every month, like in the mail, or I drop around and I just, like we were talking the other day, I can't remember who was our coach on this, was Kevin Dabrowski, right? Do something the other guy can't do, can't imagine that anybody would do, So you go, okay, I'm going to buy all your customers. You're still in town. I don't, you tilt your head when you talk to me. Anybody who does that, you go, ooh, you got problems, right? You've got a little bit of criminal in you, right? Or they're highly trained in interrogation and manipulation, right? So you get that kind of person. You go, okay, well, you're probably not 100. I can't just relax and say everything's kosher. Yeah. So on that basis, I'm still gonna do it, and I'm gonna spoil those people. But that's part of my cost. So what I'm gonna offer you, let's say I was prepared to pay $200 a customer, I'm gonna offer $150 a customer. If he takes 150, I'm gonna take 50, and I'm gonna spend it on those customers through the next 12 months, so that if he tries to get back to them, they've got cookies and movie tickets, and they're gonna go, nah, sorry, bro. Our relationship is not so important compared to my cookies and my movie tickets that I'm getting from Epic Pen.
Hey, so Peter sent us his video that you were talking about, how he just messaged me and he commented down in the comments.
Yeah, let's put that on. Let's put that on.
So let's watch that.
Yeah, this is the...
Perry.
Oh, here we go.
Can't see the windows. Doesn't really matter.
Look at that. He's straight up at is that a 90-degree angle?
Yeah. It's not quite. It's about
and
105.
And it's 12 feet from his pole to the window.
Yeah. 12 feet from the pole to the window, and you can only do that with a reach it. Like all the other, when we talk about your pole flexing versus our poles not flexing privately, we don't talk about it on here, but that's when that is a tactical, right? That's not a warrior that he's using there. In fact, you can only do this easily with a tactical, right? But tactical is not our most rigid pole, but that is a tactical.
Yeah.
So what he's got there, Pete, what have you got there? That I think, if I look at it, it's the number one section from the tactical, and
what's that red pole?
That red pole is a plus A for tactical. Yeah. Look at that.
So when you say plus A, what does that mean, Perry?
A plus A, so the reach it poles are designed. The reason why our poles might appear more expensive than what other guys do, A, they may be putting fiberglass in them, which is the normal way, and they won't tell you, but you and I will do a session on how to tell whether there's fiberglass in your pole, probably because of what it weighs, but because fiberglass is heavy. But what I studied was that when you have a pole and you're leaning it against the building, obviously the pole will flex less the closer you are to the building. The further away from the building, the more gravity is pulling down on the pole. So the gravity will load the pole and make it want to flex. Yeah. Whereas if it's vertical, it can't flex. Right. If it's horizontal, it'll flex the maximum. Right. So if you say, well, I'm somewhere on any point in any job, I'm somewhere in between those. So then what I did is I set up my camera, and then I was working at heights, and I was watching as I go from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. What is the pole doing? Where is it flexing? And we used to add all the extensions at the base of the pole. So we came up with that. We were the first people in the world. Unga were next to us at the IWCA in 2012. And a year later, they came out with the same plus C XT base of the pole extension. But in fact, what I realize is that we're loading the base of the pole and putting all this weight into the base of the pole. As you walk away from the building, we're loading the base of the pole. So we stopped doing the plus C maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, because I realized that was actually putting weight here and forcing a flex higher up in the pole. So what we did is worked out that the higher you go, the flex point moves down the pole, right? So at 4 stories, our poles, let's say, are perfectly rigid, but you go to 5 stories and then there's a flex close to the top of the pole, and then you go to 6 stories and that flex moves down, and then you go to 7 stories and the flex is lower again, right? Maybe closer to the middle of the pole. So then I was working out how to do a stiffening kit. I was thinking about all these ways of the stiffening kit, because I had a 4-wheel drive as well, and you can stiffen the springs on a 4-wheel drive. Mm-hmm. But in the end, what I did was I realized that if we can put our extensions in the middle of the pole where it goes to flex and make the extension from a higher modulus, of a higher rigidity of material.
Oh, wow.
Right? So our plus A for tactical is ultra, it's high. Anyway, it's a higher modulus than the pole, right? Maybe it's the same as the top 4 sections. Now, if I go back, it was originally the Mini. So with the Mini, we would put in a high modulus for the extensions. Then what we did when we brought out the tactical, we put high modulus in the top 4 sections, and then the plus A is also high modulus. With the Warrior, we have ultra high modulus in the top 4 sections, and we have ultra high modulus plus A and plus B. So you stiffen it up where it goes to flex, where the load is actually. Yeah. Anyway, long answer, but it's all scientifically worked out.
Yeah, that's neat.
And that way you get the pole to be as rigid as possible. And like if you buy a Warrior, it might look like it's a 3 to 4 story pole, but actually its composition is designed to go. You can take the 4, 5, 6, and 7 stories with having total control of it. So it's a slightly expensive 4-story pole, but when you get if you got one building that's 5 stories, you don't have to go and buy a 5-story pole. You just buy a plus A or a plus B extension for your pole. So that's blah blah blah.
So can you do that with the tactical and make it a 4-story pole?
Yeah. Tactical will go, Mini goes to 3, tactical goes to 5, like easily. You can extend it higher, but it just becomes less controllable, but not out of control, and it'll never break. But Mini goes to 5 and Warrior goes to 7. So 3, 5, 7, like that. So if somebody buys a Mini, it's a 2-story pole, they can take the 3. If they're in a country town, that's all they need. Somebody buys tactical, it's a 3-story pole with shock stop, and then they can take it to 4 and 5. That's pretty high. And then Warrior is for the truly commercial guys, or the guys doing solar panels, where they want to clean the solar panels from the ground. And then obviously your pole is, if you're doing solar panels on a 1-story building, your pole is close to parallel to the the roof. So then you need the rigidity, otherwise the gravity is going to want to pull it to sag, especially when you load it against resistance. So the brush has got the surface thing, and you push it, so it's going to want to flex. So you need the most rigid pole you can, otherwise you start banging the panels and the gutters. Yeah. So let's go back to business acquisition. So I think that the idea is, I think it's a wonderful idea, to buy out guys that are getting out. Now, I was alluding to Martin as how many guys get injured, because when I did my last tour of Canada through to, I went from Vancouver to Miami with my little training tour, right? And I did some private tours, private training as well for some of the companies like Easy Window Cleaning and Tanya and Cash Wager in Michigan. I went to their companies, so they had a lot of staff, and if they had like 10, 15, 20 staff, then I would go and do a private training for them. And I asked them, what's the average life of a window cleaner worker? And it is 5 years. It's 5 years. And that's not the guy who just came in for 1 month or 2 months. So then the question is, well, what is it that makes somebody only 5 years on the tools? And the answer is ergonomics. They're climbing ladders with their knees out all day, and then their knees start hurting. They're water-fed poling, and they're not using prism glasses, so they're looking up, like this, and they start getting tension headaches from the trapezoid muscle being compressing and starving the brain of oxygen, basically. They get home and they get tension headaches. And they could solve that just by wearing prisms. And they go, I don't want to wear prisms because it makes me feel sick. And you go, you only feel sick for 3 minutes the first 2 or 3 days because your brain is adjusting to the fact that you're looking straight ahead and you're not seeing straight ahead. So, of course, your brain is going to say, are you sure? Are you sure right now? But just like learning to drive a car or learning to ski or learning to, ride a motorbike, and lean into a corner or counter steering, it's all like counter steering is counterintuitive. Do you know what I mean? Where you push the wrong way and your bike leans over the right way, right?
Yeah.
So the prisms are just like that, So that's what I thought. I thought a lot of guys would get out, because they're actually suffering, and so, but on the other side, maybe it is just they stayed on the tools and they got older and sore. But he referred to it that they were sore, right? Back gone, neck gone, knees gone, So I wonder. So the next thing would be, okay, he's got the source now from the Jehovah's Witness customers, but I wonder if, like, let's say you wanted to expand your base, right? And you would then weigh up, what's my cost of acquisition by using Facebook compared to my cost of acquisition by going to that old guy who's been doing it for 20 years and just going, your customers need Epic Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, it's if the business owner's been doing it for 12 plus years and his clientele base has been well grown over those 12 years, you would think that they would be a better asset than just spending some money on Facebook and getting one-offs,
Yeah, well, it depends what speed you want to grow, because you can probably tell that
That's true.
Martin's life is probably pretty hectic. Every time we talk to him, the phone's ringing, he's got this going on, that going on. Like he's busting his ass, right? He's really working hard, So,
That's true.
but good on him, and it's really amazing because he doesn't come from the industry. He started at 45. I love that. And then, and again, if somebody's really built their business to sell, and I know there's somebody, what's that? Automate, grow, sell. Somebody's running that program. We should try and find them. But you automate, grow, sell. You need to in order to return on investment of all the stuff you've done, you probably need to sell to somebody who's got no idea what window cleaning is, or no idea of the service industry, or they're a corporation that wants to take on the service industry. So they want to add you to their systems and processes. They need to see that those customers are regular and got contracts and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But for Epic Ben, I would think it's that guy who's a single truck guy who's never put in a CRM, he hasn't got any of the stuff you've got. He's got no branding. He's just got his phone number on the side of the truck with window cleaner.
Yeah.
That guy, he's got no chance to get a capital return on that business. Zero. And so you turn up and offer him, say, dude, when you're ready to get out, I'll give you X dollars per client, as long as we've got a meet and greet, and I'll tell you which ones, blah blah blah. But I'm in it.
Yeah.
We got a phone call from a reseller. Not a phone call, an email. We're in the acquisition mode right now. Would you consider selling Future of Cleaning to us? So you could do the same. Just write that get that message to them and say, I'm in a position where I could do an acquisition if you're in a position where you would want to leave the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
No, I think a meet and greet is very important.
Yeah, it would be an interesting exercise. I don't know how we do this with integrity, but it would be an interesting exercise just to contact and see if anybody took the bait.
Yeah.
Because the thing about your business, Ben, is that it is beautifully automated. The question is whether you want to go from individual to group, whether you want to get into leadership and management. and that's a we've talked about that off camera. You know, that's a you know, people is people.
Yeah, I'm curious if I
Where
just
the,
went out the next day and just emailed some
yeah,
competitors and say,
ask
"Hey, are
some
you
people.
interested in buying my business?" and just see what they say.
No, I would go the other way. I'm interested in buying not the
Oh,
guys with
buying
a
their
brand.
business.
Yeah, not the
Ah,
guys with a brand, just the man with the truck, right? If he's already branded, he's already on the similar path to you, right? Not that guy, because he's going to put a value on his brand. You want to get the guy
yeah,
who's got no brand. He's just a window cleaner.
yeah. Yeah, like a candidate that I wouldn't go towards is like Poor Man Window Cleaning. He's got his brand, he's got his name, Poor Man Window Cleaning. People are known,
Yeah,
he's known for
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. No, you want the guy like like what what Martin has cracked. That's
Yep.
really fascinating. But Jason had said that this is the best way to grow is through acquisition of small businesses. But it'd be interesting to hear from Jason at some point. You know, maybe next time we get Martin on, we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
You know? Peter is got semi-retired, but he did a deal, and I don't know the deal, but he did a deal with his right-hand man, Tommy from
Mm,
Tomcat Scrub, right?
yeah.
Um,
Is he the 20-year-old
so
that Peter was talking
yeah,
about?
yeah,
I think
I
that's
think
what
he's
Peter
older
was
than
saying.
20 now. Yeah, I think he might be older than
Okay.
20, but he's definitely young, and and uh, and so he's just taken over. You know, Peter's bought a new van, kitted it out beautifully. You know, got all the stuff, got all the client base, and then he's done a deal for that young guy to say, "Here's your business." You know,
Yeah.
and I don't
So
know,
does
Peter might
Peter
get a
still
percent.
own the business?
I
Like,
don't
is he
know.
a partner of some sort?
He must in the
I'll have to
sense of the
ask
van,
him.
I think. Yeah, we could ask him how he facilitated. Because if you're a one person business and you wanted to sell it, selling it to your offsider who you work with every day and you know and
Yeah.
trust enough, you know if they've got a slimy side anyway, then that would
Hmm.
be it's a perfect candidate, right?
Yeah. He
And
knows the
when we need
clients.
Pete, yeah, when we need Pete to make a video for us, he rings Tommy and says, "Tommy, on Saturday, bring the truck over because I need to make a video."
Yeah. Well, he did that the other day. He needed a hose reel for our flow demonstration, and he didn't have one of the
Yeah,
tubes, so he rang up Tommy, and
yeah,
here comes Tommy
yeah,
bringing a hose reel.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's fascinating.
yeah. Fascinating. All right. Well, I reckon we've probably chatted. There's going to be a short one tonight. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
think
We've got
so.
things to do. I've got a new bike for Ollie, a new car, a new house, new office. So I wouldn't mind getting another
Harry's
half
living
hour
the
out into my
dreams.
day.
He's a changed man, changing life a little bit.
It's all good. I'm trying to settle, so that's good. But yeah, I think definitely to be revisited. I think we'll do Business Takeover
Yes,
Part 2. It's like
part
Home Alone
two.
2.
Yeah.
That'll be great. And then anybody else who's watching this, if you've been involved, then please reach out to Ben, Ben Bergloff at service6sigma.com and or find him on Facebook and say you would like to be part of an episode where we can have multiple guests. We don't normally, but we can have multiple guests on a theme.
Yeah,
It'd be fascinating to explore because what
that
we
would be
want to do,
so
where we want to
fascinating.
end up. Yeah, we want to end up where you have an insight as to how you would sell your business, prepare it for sale or not prepare it for sale is another way, right? Where you go, there's no point me doing this if somebody's just going to buy my clients. Or the person who could buy my business if I get it to a certain size needs it to be super professional and all the reporting perfect. And then franchises, by the way, do acquisition, right?
Mm,
Franchises do acquisition, but they may want you to come into the franchise group first and then sell your business inside the franchise, right?
mm,
Does that make sense?
interesting.
So
Yeah.
you've got ABC window cleaning. Oh, that's a brand. Sorry, you got ABD window cleaning, um, and then XYZ franchise comes along and says, would you like to join our franchise group? If you join their franchise group, your ABD is now XYZ. You wear an XYZ hat. Now they have a franchise. You can then put that franchise up for sale, and you'd be using their systems and processes, and then they would then look to sell your franchise for them, and then they'll clip the ticket on the 10 or 12% on the turnover. So we can. I'll reach out to Ken Fisk from. Jason might be able to help me because Jason was in Window Genie, but also maybe Ken Fisk from Window Genie. He might come on board if we talk about that, if they're doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Be cool. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. People see a bit of what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we will have a part 2 of this. We will have a part 2 of this business takeover for sure. So I think it'll be a great discussion, and I think it'll be very useful information, especially for me, because I'm always looking to scale. So I would love to purchase a clientele base of some sort to,
Yes.
So
Yes. But remember this: where there are no oxen, the stalls are clean. All right, you have a clean stall business right now, Ben Berglund. You start putting people in there, and there's shit.
I know it's run very smoothly.
I grew up on a dairy farm. My foster parents were dairy farmers, and I was responsible for cleaning the stalls. I know exactly what that proverb means.
Yeah.
Yeah, bud. Love it.
All right. We want to thank everybody for joining, and we'll catch you guys next time.
What's up?
Oh, hello there. Ben here with Epic Exterior Services, president and co-founder of Service Six Sigma. We want to thank you for joining our live stream today. We appreciate any feedback is welcome. Please comment on our future posts and live streams. We always love to see the engagement in our live streams. Always ask questions, always post your comments, and reshare this video with your friends, family, Facebook, social media. Share it everywhere as much as possible. We would highly appreciate it. And if you know of a guest that would be great for our live stream, please pass them our way. You can visit our website, service6sigma.com, and there is a guest contact form that way, and we will interview that guest to make sure they are a good fit for our live stream. Again, thanks again for joining our live stream at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we will see you next time.